Alright, so I wanted to do a review on this new Archangel. It's pretty much built on the same architecture as the others, but it comes with a RTX 3060, which is actually very well priced considering the absolute cheapest one you can get that's in stock is $1,000 frickin'. So $1,000 just for that graphics card alone if you went to go build this yourself, so $600 for the rest of the PC is definitely worth it. Currently can't get the Ryzen 5 3600. There's none in stock and it's April the 7th. This PC will be in stock May 23rd, so for anyone looking at it, I figured I might as well just do a quick little video so that way you can order it before that date comes up because I'm sure they're going to sell out fast. So it has 1TB SSD, which is more than enough to hold most, probably about 5 big games, I would say, without making your Windows run slow. I would probably recommend getting more storage, maybe even getting another SSD. There is an extra slot for it. I'm not sure if this is an M2 SSD or if it's not. I'll have to look at the description, but either way, there's an extra SSD that's sitting right there. My friend just got one of these Archangel PCs, but his has a 3600 and a GTX 1660 Super, which is this one. And I will say that the case doesn't have a lot of airflow at the front, but I wouldn't say there's any overheating problems. The only problem that he's facing is his CPU gets very hot for almost no reason. It ramps up to over 80. It did not come with a stock AMD cooler like what it shows. It came with a cheap cooler master, and I have a suspicion they didn't put thermal paste or enough on it or too much. So I am going to go over to his house soon and take a look-see at that, and I'll report back. But you definitely want to watch the temps as soon as you get this thing. It's not uncommon for them to leave a piece of plastic when they're supposed to take it off or whatever. These pre-builds are definitely thrown together by people that usually don't know what they're doing. You could just tell, like, cable management is always nice, but things people can't see with the visual eye, like leaving a piece of plastic on the bottom of the CPU, is definitely a thing that you have to deal with a lot, which is really stupid. So first off, there is one case fan at the front. I noticed that it's not showing the front. For his case, he only had one fan at the front, which is super irritating. That is not enough intake fans, especially for this small. We upgraded to, with 3 extra fans for about $30, so we got almost a match to what comes in it. So they do look pretty similar when they're set on randomize. You can't tell the difference unless you're staring at it. It does have a nice glass swinging door and a magnet, so opening this thing up is super easy. The back of it doesn't have a lot of room for much else, like jamming cords in the back doesn't really work. I noticed there is the shroud that doesn't go all the way up to the front, so the fans are exposed, the bottom one, so you can fit 3 in the front, which I didn't know you could do. I thought it was 2. And where the hard drive should go, they just jammed all the cords in there rather than nicely placing it out, because this case is very narrow at the back. So I can see why they didn't try their best to do anything like that. They just kind of zip tied it all together and just shoved it in there. So that will be something I have to deal with. So back to the parts of this thing. So it does have an RTX 3060, which is it's like a better tuned, more VRAM 2060 Super. So anything the 2060 Super couldn't get 60 FPS on, the RTX 3060 does. It gets about anywhere between 5 to 10 FPS more on games without any overclocking compared to the 2060 Super, which is a really good future-proof card, I would say, with that 12 gigabytes of RAM, or VRAM, I should say. Does have 16 gigabytes of RAM at 3000 speed. You should be able to overclock that because it is a B450 motherboard, so that means that you'll be able to overclock the CPU with that motherboard and overclock the RAM with that motherboard. Ryzen CPUs get a nice little boost at 3200 and up, so you should be able to overclock it perfectly fine unless it's locked. I can't see that RAM that they choose being locked if it's a brand name company. The 3000 speed just means what they tested it at, and it's stable. You can overclock, and you should be totally fine doing that. What else can I say about this? It does come with a 600 watt gold PSU, which is perfect for this graphics card, but it's not really too future proof. If you do try to go to something bigger, 600 watt is starting to get very close to that thin line for recommendations. Like a 2070 Super recommends 700 and up. Even, yeah, like, I don't know. It's kind of close. Like if you want to upgrade to a 3070 Ti when that comes out, if it ever comes out, it's definitely going to want at least a 700, 750. So you wouldn't be able to go up that route. But I'm guessing you're not going to need an upgrade for this PC for quite a while. So hopefully they come out with something more energy efficient by, pardon me, the next generation. Which I don't see why they wouldn't. And there's not too many bad things I can say about this. Heat could be a problem, but adding more fans, making sure that CPU isn't overheating, you should be fine. I will say that he used it for about an hour and a half when I was over gaming, and the GPU never overheated. It didn't even get past 60, even in this tight case with the 1660 Super, so that's pretty good. But that CPU, like I said, was getting pretty toasty even when we weren't doing anything. It does have an extra slot for an extra SSD if 1 TB SSD isn't enough for you. So I would say, you know what, for $1,600, it's actually pretty good, plus tax, an extra $300 most, depending on where you live. I don't think it's that bad. Actually, let's just take a look. How much would it be after tax? Well, the old trusty calculator. 1,599. Pretty sure the average tax is 0.13, so $200 more. 199. So you're looking at 1,806, which I don't think is too bad for this PC. It is pretty pricey. This is definitely for someone that's more looking for future proof, that doesn't want to have to do upgrades themselves. And during this pandemic where prices are ridiculous, I don't think it's that bad.